Hello again friends, and welcome to another Prefect 99 live stream. Thanks for joining if you are watching. But again, I can only apologise for last time. That was a bit of a mess. Everything seems a-okay today. The stream seems to be running fine, so fingers crossed we are good. Big event at Dublin. Nice busy Thursday. Looks like lots of controllers are on and it's nice and busy. Loads of London is online as well. So the UK is pretty well lit up. Apart from the little sector we're in, London Centre is not online, which is a shame. So we're going to be Unicom for the initial departure before heading over to sunny Dublin. Hello Mark, good to see you again, thanks for joining. I'll get the charts up in a mo. I think this should now be working. No, it isn't, but it brings up the weather, so I think I just need to link that to Navigraph. Okay, good, that has worked, I think. Excellent, so we can bring up some charts if we want to have a look. So, that's good. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the jet and we can have a little bit more of a leisurely setup. I think they're shutting the doors at Dublin at... I think they opened at 7 and they're going through till 10. So, 3 hours, busy night. Which is good on them, really. But again, people don't really have much to do. If you've got plans in the evening, I don't know how. So, like I say, let's hop in. I've discovered that we haven't got gate power, so I'm going to fire up the GPU. I did have it running beforehand, but it's pretty noisy, so we'll just fire that up when we get in. And I think we're the only ones at Birmingham so far. This is stand 2. The terminal's over here to our right. The runway and everything's out there over to the left, and I don't think anybody else is here, so there we go. So completely cold and dark in here. Let me just sort the little streaming the overlay out. There we go. And you can just about make out the battery. There it is. You'll see no ground power available. So let's connect a GPU. Get the AC in, and you see I've done a couple of little switch setups. The position of the strobe would normally be always left to steady rather than turned off, so that when AC power is applied to the airplane it comes on. And if we have a look up here, we can get the IRS aligning. Once it starts, you'll see it'll take 8 to 9 minutes, and that will vary with attitude. So the further north you go, the longer that takes. For closer to the equator you get, the less time that takes. So that's aligning. We can pop the water damper on. Got the low pressure cautions for the hydraulics. Make sure you check these. People have had issues. You can't do an auto land, for instance, if the IRS is not on, rather than both on left, both on right. Source auto, that's normal. Fuel temp there is going to equal what we've got outside, and you can see it's actually pretty chilly. The last weather we had was -3, which is chilly. The METAR that we did have for Birmingham that has since gone, the 1820, no wind, 10k with 3.5 K to the east. Few clouds at 2100, overcast at 4002. And of course, any moisture is definitely going to be below freezing with -3 temp and a -3 dew point. Anyway, so you can see that's pretty much reflecting it. You can see how cold it is. Crossfeed you can check, open it, right light comes on and goes dim, close it, bright, off. Centre fuel pumps we can leave off, all the low pressures on the wing tanks. Lights off, EPU's off. The gen off bus lights are on because the gens are off. Ground power is on. Cabin util IFE on, don't need to worry about that. It's effectively just a voltmeter. It doesn't do anything. Switching it to have a look at ground power and see what it does. It just tells you what the power's doing. It doesn't select it or anything. PENIL as we like, belts and chimes off, the emergency exits I'd already done. Igniters right for the first sortie, switches to auto or off depending on the airframe. Wipers both park. Diff pressure is 0, so the inside and the outside of the cabin are the same. You see that the front door and the cargo doors open, the electric hydraulic pumps can come on, cautions have gone out. Anti-ice we are probably going to need for departure. Probes are going to be off, window heats, test. Of course you can do the bulb test as well to check everything, but quick and dirty setup I don't. Check the cabin temp, you can see it's freezing in the cabin. Of course in reality they have conditioned air valves, so you don't need the APU running to get the air conditioning running. So popping the packs on would sort that out. ISO's auto, APU can stay off, the engine bleeds stay on. Some people seem to turn these off, you don't need to, just unless your performance limited for a short runway in a heavy load or high density altitude, don't need the bleeds off, leave them on. That I guess was set for our last flight. Let's have a look at the OFP today. You can see that we've actually got a bit of a step climb, initially 2,000, I'm talking about 240, 24,000, almost a full load. Yeah, that's not going to be realistic, is it? Although I've seen a couple of Ryanair flights in reality today, zipping about the sky. I don't know how full they're going to be. The cargo, 3 tons. The payload's probably not going to match up because I still haven't synced up the weights with SimBrief and the mod. We are on stand 2, and arrival, that's just an expectation in reality. And I get all of that from I put the departure destination in and just plumb all that in just because it gives me some useful information that won't automatically come out of SimBrief if you're wondering why you don't have it. Fuel-wise, our trip fuel is 48 minutes to Dublin, 2.1 tons with a 5% contingency, another 100 kilos. Alternate fuel is just under 1600 to Manchester. A 30-minute final reserve of just over 1 ton, and then I've added an additional 30 minutes just in case, although at Dublin they're pretty good. Even when it's busy you don't get held up, but we have got an extra half an hour if we need it, and in theory you could commit your diversion fuel at 1.5 to Manchester if it was just traffic delays rather than winter or anything else. That gives you the takeoff fuel, no option. Taxi 15 minutes, we probably won't need that, and it gives us a block fuel of 6348, which I will now request. So I think I said we had 186 packs. Got 3 tons of cargo. Put 1 in there. 2 in the back. That's quite a forward CG actually. So let's put it all in the back. There you go, that's got it back to about 25%. And you can see how the envelope there, maximum 0 fuel weight. We are actually getting pretty close to it when you have a look. It's ever so slightly out, so 62331, yeah, we're only 400 kilos off. So pretty heavy. Of course, if we were going to be going over 62.7, we would have to either boot off some hefty punters or lose some of the cargo. One thing I didn't do on the overhead, because I got distracted talking about that, was the destination. Pressurization is 250. It wouldn't matter. If you left that at 350, when the aeroplane lands, it dumps all of any residual pressure, so the pressurization controller would just helps it plan that better. So it doesn't matter if you left that, it dumps it all on landing, but that can be uncomfortable. Where in the SimBrief sheet is the total payload shown? So, Mark, that's why I have my little thing here to do it, because it doesn't do it for you. You have to take the operating empty weight of 43.1 for Zibo. You have to subtract it from 60.8 to give you payload. So you can see I've estimated it's between those two depending on what passenger weights are used. And so if you take 60.8, take away 43.1, that's going to give you 17.7. So just under the max that I've calculated there, due to the packs in Zibo being heavier than they are in SimBrief. I think it's that way around. So you have to do a little bit of maths, and but equally, if you're given the packs weight, if you're given the packs number and the cargo, then you can plumb those in, and then based on the EFB weights for the passengers, it will then give you your payload, which you can see there is 90.2. That's interesting. Yes, because that's the estimated zero fuel weight, and that's not what we've actually got. So they may or may not match up. So that's my payload is planned at 17.7. Is not what matches up there. So I need to check my SimBrief figures. If you get the passenger weights in SimBrief and the passenger weights in Zibo to match up, then the estimated will all work out. But that is that. I've definitely got it right, haven't I? 186 packs, because there's only a couple of empty seats at the back. Yeah. Cool. So that's how you'd work it out. Whereas if you were just doing it off this and you just wanted to put in the raw figure, then you could just subtract one from the other, get your 17.7, pop it in there. We're 2 tons heavier, so guess it's Christmas. Everybody's been on the mince pies, haven't they? So that was that bit done. Then we just got to do the fuel. As you can see, we've got 3.9 on board, and we wanted block fuel. I'll put the whole lot in and see what we get given. 6348. Call the fuel truck, and that is on the way. So let's get the punters on the way. We've got about 20 minutes before our scheduled push. I hope that makes sense. It was a bit of a little bit of a mess, but as long as you match up the weights in SimBrief and you match them up in here in the settings, everything will work. They have just changed since I last did it, and I haven't got around to doing it. But equally, it's only an estimated payload and zero fuel weight on the OFP. Just like in reality, you can have some last-minute cargo to change it all, and you'd have to redo some sums like fuel penalties and everything else. So we're 2 tons heavier. On the second page of the OFP are the operational impacts for that, and you can see here that weight change increased by 1 gives us plus 27 kilos, no time difference. So by carrying an extra 2 tons of payload, we're going to need, our trip penalty is going to be 54 kilos of fuel, which is A, negligible, and B, we've got some additional fuel anyway. And that will actually come in within the contingency. So there is a fuel penalty, but it's negligible, and there's definitely no time penalty either. And you can see flight level changes above and below. Interestingly, below you get a bit more, and then above it's a slightly higher penalty with negligible time difference. The longer sectors that may change. So I hope that helps as well. So we've done the overhead. The IRSs are actually now aligned because I've been talking so much rubbish for so long. So you can set the cockpit up as you like. I like to have those off until I confirm what I want. You leave the master caution as it is. The first thing we need to do, I'm still checking to see if there's anything online. There's a tower. Loads of places online, just not where we are. So what we can do is... did I not set that? Yes, I did. There we go. Go to the ACARS and we can get the ATIS and see what the weather is like. That message. Or you could just use Google and get the real one. I'm using Active Sky with live weather, so they should all match up. And here we go at 1920 Zulu. There is 0 wind. 9k visibility. Broken at 1800. Broken gives you the ceiling as well. Overcast at 3000. -2, dew point of -2, QH1016. So let's set 1016 while we think about it. So that's our weather jotted down. I've written that down on the OFP as well. There's a little box for you to do it. Pop it in so you've got it. We're going to leave the MCP set as it is. Odd number to remind us we're not cleared. We're probably going to be clearing ourselves. Bell Amsterdam's open. It's really busy tonight. So check flap indicator matches flap lever. I'm going to check takeoff config. That works. Auto brake. RTO, the test goes on and comes off. The test is just a self-test. The light comes on, goes off. Hydraulic pressure we've got. And just get the FMC loaded up on both those. Gear lever is obviously down. 3 green, flaps are up. Move on to the radios. Set 2000 set. So effectively the initial done. We've started loading up the payload. See that the airplane is gradually being fueled as oh, it's just finished, hasn't it? So we've got 6.3, 3.17. It's just 6.34, so we could be a little bit light. But again, we've got that additional half an hour of fuel, which is 1.3 tons. So we've got more than enough to worry about these ever so small little bits, and it's going to be swallowed up in the contingency anyway. So happy that the fuel has been done, so we can get the belts on, get one of the pumps on. They tend to alternate between those. If you have a look at the fuel schematics for the APU, you'll see why tank 1 is used for the APU. So go and have a look at that, it's well worth having a look at. You'll see why, and you can reduce the wear by just alternating between them. So, starting to get good to go for prepping our route. We're at Echo Golf Bravo Bravo. Stand 2, doesn't look up anything. Take the GPS left, pop it into the IRS. There we go, that's worked. Off to Echo India Delta Whiskey. Using our standard call sign that I don't think anybody else has ever used, which saves for hassle when planning, etc. on VATSIM. I am going to load up the one that's been exported to save, typing it all in. So there's our route. I hope you guys can see that. LUVUM, NANTI, Yankee 53 to Wallasey, the VOR, Lima 10 to PENIL, Apple Lima 28 to LELDO, Mike 145 BAGSO, and then our favourite arrival, BAGSO 2 Lima into Dublin, 28 left. So, LUVUM, NANTI, Wallasey, 0, PENIL, Lima 2, LELDO, Mike 5 BAGSO, there we go. So check that's all loaded in. And loading it up just means it saves typing that all in, which is a bit of a nose. What I'm going to do before we go on to the performance page, I'm going to do the departure and arrival. There's nobody online here, so we are going to do that departure. There's nil wind. I guess 3-3 is the preferred runway. It's the preferred direction that we're going in anyway. And I'm going to plan BAGSO 2 Lima and 28 left. And if it changes, it changes, but at least it gives us a fighting chance. So there's LUVUM 1 Mike, and I'm going to pop these in first and then we'll check them later. So we're going to expect the ILS for 28 left, expect BAGSO 2 Lima, and that's interesting that, I'm just going to have a look on the charts. So I've got a Navigraph on my iPad, so I don't need to bring it up on screen, but I will do it a bit so you guys can see. It's interesting that LAM come up as a transition. 28 left, BAGSO 2 Lima. So let's have a look at these. I might as well bring the charts up so you guys can see. So, first thing we need, obviously you can read through all of these, noise abatement, etc. The first one you need is the parking stands, because that's where you're going to be. Next, you're going to need to think about do either the takeoff minimums, airport info, or the airport. I'll bring that one up just so you can see it. And then, departure wise, LUVUM 1 mic, that one. Birmingham, you can load up the others. So, stand 2 is where we are, so we're going to be pushing back that way. Onto Yankee, takeoff run. This is where we get our distances from. This is where we're going to check with the performance calculation. And it's got the legal minimum, so it's a 45 meter runway, takeoff run available, that's fine. It's grooved asphalt, so you get a bit more grip. Usable landing distances, and there we go, takeoff minimum down here. So depending on the lighting available, that gives you the visibility for legal departures, and you can see it's pretty low for departures. It can be as low as 300 meters. Well, it goes down to 125 with some restrictions on what happens depending on lighting available. And with no lighting you can go down to 500 meters, daytime only, just visual references. So that's the way you check that it is legal. But like I say, that's for the distances as well, so that's useful to have up. And we're going to be going back here, and it's a pretty short taxi. We might not be able to, well, we probably could take that intersection, so we'll do the performance calculations from there. But to be honest, we might as well go down to the end. It's not a huge amount of additional taxi, and with a D rate that will reduce the wear on the engines as well, so the company would prefer that. For our departure, it's completely RNAV, it's just straight ahead, and then effectively direct at LUVUM. Some restrictions here, so got to be that warning there, no turns below 840, so we'll actually see. I'll engage the autopilot nice and early and see what happens if we get to 840. Although that there is a point there, probably get to that before then. It's interesting, I don't know why it says above 840, but hey, that's the restriction. Do not climb above 6,000. So what I will do is put 6,100 on here, just so we're ready. So Bravo November 30, max 250, yes. 1500 above, yes. It is also below 6, but you don't need that because that hard altitude's in there. It's also been put in. You can see that we haven't got any cruise out because I haven't put the performance information in yet. The next is above 5 and then 6, and that's it. So that's what we've checked. Can do the MSAs if we need to for a return. I'm not going to put those in, and we do them just like we did last time. There is the rest of route. We think that we're going to be going in with the BAGSO. Do I say 1 Lima? No, it's 2 Lima because they've updated it, haven't they? BAGSO 2 Lima. Go. So you've got planned descents, BAGSO below flight level 100, yes. ADSYS at whatever, again, that will come in. 230 below at 8, 230 below at 8, 230 below at 8. And this is a point merge, so it keeps going all the way around. That mode, interestingly, says below 3, and that's from the arrival. It's above 3 at 180. So I will put that in. And go. If we have a look at the arrival, sorry, the approach for S28 left, that mode is given at 3. Of course, I think you probably could be below that. Hold is 3. So I'm going to take that 3 and just make it a hard 3000. It certainly shouldn't be below. Max Ev at 2.5 is the actual intercept. 2.8 left. Gannet, dub for the mist. Below 3000 at Gannet. See what the text says. 2 max 3000, yes. 220 below, 5, good. So that's all effectively done and dusted. And of course that may change. One thing I am going to do while we're here is pop in our descent forecasts. So we are going up to 2.8. I'm just getting these off the OFP. I won't bring it up on screen because you should know where to get this from. So it's going to be 200, 150, 100. We're going to have 355, 24. And again, even if we are a little bit late pushing, our taxi's so short that we might as well get this done and out of the way because it is a really short sector and it's going to get busy. It'll be very busy, in fact. So, the QNH at Dublin was 1019. That may be decreasing, but it's close enough. The transition level you can get off of these now, the altitude is 5000. They will calculate using a table.
Birmingham traffic, speedbird 07, just pushing back now, stand 15.
Somebody else is here. 5000 with that high pressure gives us 260.
Flight 377 is line up to take off runway 15, flight runway 33.
Just going to mute that for a bit. So you can put in the altitude you're going to have. You're going to have anti-ice on. To be honest, it makes negligible difference. The wind is going to be the biggest. The transition level just shows where it's going to be in the route, so it's not vital. You don't have to update that. The QNH makes a bit of a difference. The ISO deviation doesn't. Does the anti-ice forecast, so you don't necessarily have to worry about those too much. It's not going to affect the VNAV profile as much as the winds are, even though today they're relatively light. So let's pop in our zero fuel weight. Like we said, 62.3 was what we've loaded. That gives us a gross weight of 68.6. Again, 1.6 tons heavier than our estimated takeoff weight, which is not the end of the world as long as that gross weight is correct. Even if it's over your estimate, it doesn't matter. Our reserves, 2647, round up to 2.7, round up to 2.8. Triggers the message for us to divert. The cost index is 6. Our climb is 240 until we get to Wallasey, and then we step to 280. So clear that message. Cruise wind is actually, the top of climb wind is 317 at 4, relatively light. The ISO deviation is 12. Very cold. Execute. And let's have a look at our takeoff performance. We're going from runway 33. We've got 3,000 meters of runway. Wind is calm. We are 68.6. So I think we're going to be 68,500 for takeoff. So I'm just scribbling this down on the OFP. Giving us an estimated takeoff weight, 68.5. It's runway 33. What I will do is bring up the chart and we can have a look at those intersections. So we'll be going from Echo 1 to 551. So it's an extra 500 meters, about 450, which is not to be sniffed at. We're going to have, let's go engine anti-ice on. We're not in precipitation. Table leave off. Yeah, because not in icing conditions on the ground. We'll give it a blast before we go, but we'll turn it off for takeoff. And what we can do is a 2234. So full length is 22k, 34 assumed temp at flap 5 gives us 146, 149, 2519, and you can see actually we could also use that setting, that reduced takeoff, to give us the an available takeoff from runway from section Echo. What I will do though is put in that Tora of 2551, see what it gives us. Exactly the same, 2519, and it just reduces the stop margin to 32. So luckily, even if we got the takeoff wrong, it wouldn't actually matter. We can just about make it from Echo. It is going to be a bit closer. Stop margin of 32 meters is a little bit close for comfort. So D rate 32, assumed temperature, sorry, that's 22. 34, takeoff flap 5, trim 525. It's about there, isn't it? And I've got 146, 46149. So V2 is within 1. So I'm going to take those from the calculator. Within 1 you could use it. And that looks okay, 68.5, 68.6 is our current. We're obviously going to burn a bit of fuel before we get there. Good. Minimum flap is 1400. And we should have already pushed by now, so I'm going to get the APU started. Get the punters sat down, done the takeoff performance, minimize that. Still nobody online to talk to. Excellent. So 149. The runway heading is 326. There are no nav aids for the departure. We're just going to simply turn to 007, and I'm just going to pop that in as a reminder it's not actually going to be doing anything. Flight directors can come on. The APU is started, and in reality you need to give it a couple of minutes before you start using it, but nobody's going to die in the sim. Can disconnect, set parking brake, and better pushback is going to do something like that. It's good enough to me.
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you're ready.
So let's get the airplane secured.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
And of course at this point you should be running through the before starts to the line, which is no passenger seat. No, that's all good. Door shut. Aviation, nice little logo there. Thanks for joining. So like I said, our Estimated takeoff time was 2020, 15 minutes scheduled in for taxi. Should still be able to meet that, and we should be landing at 21:08. Now, one thing I didn't mention about the step climb was it's 240 step climb to 280 at Wallasey, so we've done everything for 240 just in case we don't get it. Christian, am I a real pilot? I have a PPL. I have some previous military instructional experience, but I am not type rated on the 737. So, yeah, but not for the jets. But it's good for, you know, certainly flying online is especially good for keeping your brain updated. You know, just keeping your head in 4 dimensions, time, everything else. You know, the flying itself is not necessarily as realistic. You know, you can never get the controls perfect, but pretty damn close.
Release parking brake.
So, we are effectively good to go. We are self-clearing for a runway 33 departure to LUVUM. I'm going to pop that on. Can pop the beacon on. Birmingham traffic, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, stand 2, push and start facing south. Difficult question, Christian, very difficult. So I too was considering doing that before Corona, and have effectively just said, well, I think if you haven't started, it's worth considering. I think traffic will recover, but it may take a few years, so if you're young enough, it probably shouldn't be the end of the world. But it is a gamble. The best thing you can do is not do an integrated course, in my opinion. You can exit training at any time. If you can do the exams whilst working, even better. And then the flying you can take at your own pace. And I do think modular is the way to go, because for this very reason, you know, you're not stumping cash up front, you're paying as you go, and you can also pause it should you need to, depending on exams and all the other aspects. 25, yeah, you're still plenty young enough, mate. Once you start getting to my age, which is the other side of 30, you've got to start thinking about it. Okay, 24 months. Like I say, I mean, that sounds like an integrated course. I would potentially reconsider, especially if you haven't already committed any money. There are other options. Nothing guarantees you a job, and a lot of the integrated students were just dumped. So really consider it's a lot of money to be stumping up. Anyway, let's get this particular commercial show on the road. We should all be clear. Let's get the brake off, and we'll call it 2012.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
There we go. Now we've got 6.3 still. Okay, backs off. Yeah, you know, the advantages that modular allegedly brings, I'm not sure are necessarily there. They may well be for the first cohort of people, but don't forget there's a lot of people that are qualified that will be ahead of you in the queue. And also, don't simply focus on the airlines. There are other flying opportunities. You just may have to go out and search for them. But if you can avoid stumping up huge amounts of cash, then I would do so. Competency-based IR will save you a lot of money. And you know, you get to a CPL, single engine, and do a flight instructor's rating, for instance. Do something that way. It's all about keeping your options open, in my opinion. So you've just got to do what's right for you. If you've got loads of cash to burn, then feel free. But you know, even a few years back, when I had friends of mine that were qualified, you know, they were working in garden centres, supermarkets after they qualified. So you know, the picture is not rosy. But everyone wants to go on holiday, so it will pick up at some point. It's just waiting to get there. Luckily, you're young enough that you could wait a bit longer. save up some money, which may not be a bad thing. Fuel on, got number 2 starting, and don't forget, you know, you could just do the exams, for instance. Your name sounds European. Forgive me if it isn't, and it's just a bit of family history there. But if you do have the right to work in the EU, you're in a much better position than we are now. You can get a nice EASA license, and you've got a lot more doors available. Yeah, good. So at least you've got something else as well. Or, you know, go into that, or take some time out to do the exams, and can quite happily learn to fly in your spare time. And if you've never flown before, by all means, do some flying. You know, you could just get your PPL and find that maybe you're not so keen on it, for instance. And you know, you can get a realistic assessment of your ability and how difficult you may or may not find it as well.
We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
If I assume you don't have, for instance, flying experience. If you do, then obviously you know that you like it. Like I say, I think the key mantra is just keep all your options open. Nothing's guaranteed. Don't let those big schools sell you a dream, because they'll be the first to drop you. There is the pin, so let's run through the after start flow. Not going to need the APU on. I'm going to give a blast of engine anti-ice throughout taxi, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to pop the wing anti-ice on as well. That will automatically trip off if we leave it on, that won't, and that will reduce our performance. So we've seen the pin, flap 5. No worries, I hope it works out for you, mate. But, you know, like I say, things are not rosy at the moment. Traffic levels, I'm sure, will pick up. And people will potentially be retiring. People may have retired early, so, but you know, you're not going to be at the front of the queue for a job, that's for sure. Even if everything goes back to relative normality, people are going to get hoovered up before you first. So flaps, flight controls, always do this, even in aeroplanes. Always check the flight controls, unless you want to kill yourself. Plenty of people have. So trim set, 2D10, calls checked. Go. So before taxi, generators on, no lights. APU is off. Start switches both continuous. Anti-ice all on, we'll turn it off before takeoff. Air conditioning packs auto, bleeds on, ISOs auto. Flap 5 required, 5 set, green light. Stab trim 525 required, 525 set. Start levers 2 idle detent. Light controls checked, recalls checked. We are therefore good to taxi. Birmingham traffic, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, taxiing runway 33 via Yankee, Echo, Sierra, hold Sierra 1. We have self-cleared, back to the front. Yeah, 2024, maybe. Clear left, clear right, back forwards, brakes off, of course you guys can't see that. That's me doing it on the toe pedals. Config, you see I just go quickly to full power there so the engines don't spool up too much. There was no takeoff warning, so we can continue. You can do a brake check. I would in a light aircraft, maybe not in this. Got brake pressure gauges and everything else. But yeah, I mean, European aviation, people still want to go on holiday, if you look at it that way. Maybe business travel will drop off, so legacy carriers may have an issue, and that may cascade down to the low-cost carriers, because they may shrink, and then there's qualified pilots out there. If they're willing to take a pay cut, they'll be ahead of you in the queue. So it's just all these things, like I say, if you can, you know, what if it comes back in 2 years? That would be depressing, wouldn't it? A bit quick, because we went downhill there. So we are going to go all the way down to the end. I'm going to be a little bit late actually because I've been talking too much. little bit uphill now, so we're going to need some power. Get the weather radar on. Terrain radar on. Oh, hello. That's got interesting all of a sudden, hasn't it? Is this sort of snowy, sleety rain? The effects are interesting, and the steering has got particularly bad, so that's less than ideal. Great. Ah yes, the Max. Well, that will reduce costs if anybody actually wants to fly on it, which is a different matter altogether. So, water throttle alarm, now for departure. You can see we're going uphill. Really not sure what this effect is meant to be. To be like gently blowing rain. So what I'm going to do for takeoff is I'll turn the anti-ice off and then it will go immediately back on, just because I am terrified. You wouldn't use wing anti-ice functionality, just because it's only used in bursts. However, in the sim, that's the only reason I've crashed twice. So it's not it's not LVP, so we don't need to stop at this hold. Birmingham departure, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, lining up, taking off at runway 33, LUVUM at 1 mic departure. So we have self-cleared for departure. Nobody's seen.
Cabin is secured. Have a good
Nobody
flight.
heard. Cabin's good.
Approaching 3-3.
So we really want to do a rolling takeoff, but I am actually going to come to a stop.
On runway 33.
So we're only 2 minutes late. Good enough for government work. So it's going to be 22 6.2. So 40%. Anti-ice coming off. 50% we have power. Toga. Right, it's just 21-ish. Full pressure, keeping the aeroplane straight with rudder. There's no wind. Checked. Relax the forward pressure. So it's a long old takeoff run.
V1.
That's a little bit, feels a little bit sticky.
Positive rate.
Through the dead band onto the flight directors. Positive rate. Gear up.
400.
Okay, 400 command A. Let's see what the aeroplane does. There's minimum
1000.
flap. Above 840 anyway.
East 159 London, good evening.
Okay. There's our turn.
Climb flight level 300. Up to flight level 300, Beaver 76 Tango.
So
611, climb flight level 2.
let's plug the airplane up.
Climb flight level 290, KLM 611. Control, good evening, Easy 255, flight level 190. Easy 255, London Control, hello, kid, lead 1 Golf arrival. Lead 1 Golf arrival, Easy 255.
So I'll call once we're passing.
1110 left heading 010 degrees.
Left heading 010 degrees. Gallop 611.
076 Tanker, resume navigation direct, well in, climb flight level 350.
Okay, flaps up.
Direct, well lit, climb.
No lights. VNAV.
Looks there, 301, resume navigation direct, Bovington, Bravo, November.
Direct, November, sorry.
Looks there, 301, contact under control, 129 and decimal 425, bye-bye.
29, 425, looks like 301.
Gentlemen 101, Phantom under control, hello, Logan to hotel arrival.
Had a good evening, Ryanair 7 at Delta X-ray LUVUM 1 Mike, passing altitude 5,000, climbing altitude 6,000.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, contact under control, 133.7.
London North, thanks very much, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray. Had a good evening, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, passing altitude 5,800, climbing altitude 6,000, LUVUM 1 Mike, Birmingham.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, London, good evening, Squawk 4640.
Squawk 4640, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray.
Canon 24 Echo, descend flight level 290 and speed on conversion of 280 knots.
Cancel level 290, conversion 280 knots.
So you can see the wing ice is building up.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray,
Block again.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, climb flight level 190.
Climb flight level 190, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray. So out into vent twice.
With you, leveling up, flight level 280.
Shamrock 602 London, good evening, climb flight level 370.
370, Shamrock 602.
So you can see they're petrifying.
128.050. Canon 24 Echo, report your speed to Scottish 128.050.
Speed to Scottish 128.050, Echo, thank you, bye-bye.
Easy 1984, resume own navigation direct to Dibal, max
So,
75.
looks like we're outside of icing.
Oh, now I'm doing Dibal, max decimal 75.
Cabin diff is increasing, the cabin's at 2 and steadily climbing.
696, Canon 696, London, good evening. Shuttle 9 Charlie Tango, contact London at 127.1. 127.1, thanks very much. Have a good evening, Shuttle 9 Charlie Tango. You too, goodbye. Delta 47, I think it was, calling in readability 3, quite muffled. It's a Nugra 1 hotel arrival to Heathrow.
So passing 10, the aeroplane's accelerating, all the lights can go off. 4 pumps. And the pack's out. Course checked. On our way.
Understand Eurofans 855 inbound Viswa, climbing 280, free speed.
Eurofans 855 London, good evening, climb flight level 330, it's a visit 1 Golf arrival to Gatwick.
So diff's 3.5.
330, this 1 Golf arrival.
Cabin's about 3,000 feet, climbing steady. I'm going to pop the frame counter up just.
Delta
Keep an eye on the icing.
Direct, Nugra. Correct. Line control, United 170. United 170, I'll have further fly and climb for you in about 10 miles. Alright, thank you. Runway 7834, contact London 127.1. United 170, climb, flight level 370. Up to 370, Evo 70. Easy 159, descent, flight level 290.
Descent flight level 290, easy 159.
Speedbird 202, contact London 127.1.
127.1 for Speedbird 202, thank you.
Runway 534, London, good evening. ECL 12 November Golf, when ready, descent flight level 290, level altitude. When ready, descent to flight level 290, level by altitude for easy 1 November Golf. Runway 7 Delta X-ray, contact Scottish 128.050, goodbye.
1,000 to go.
Scottish 128.050, thanks for the service, Happy New Year, Runway 7 Delta X-ray, bye bye.
You too. That's all left.
Yes, I do on that 70 for that, get into front.
Scottish Good evening, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, just levelling off flight level 190 inbound NANTI.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, Scottish Control, hello, climb flight level 240.
Flight level 240, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray. So we could have done with a bit of an earlier handoff. 2-4 set once, twice, 3 times.
Delta Uniform Lima 1986, Scottish Control, hello, climb now, flight level 160. 160, Delta Uniform Lima 1986. KLM 24 Echo, speed 250 knots or less.
250 knots or less, KLM 24 Echo.
Ryanair 9 Mike Yankee, descent to RC 3000 feet, Liverpool QNH 1016. Descent to 3000 feet, Liverpool QNH 1016, Ryanair 9 Mike Yankee. Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, fly heading 320 degrees.
Heading 320 degrees, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray. So passing 200, diffs at 5.5, cabins at 5, climbing steadily. That's going to level off quite nicely.
Scottish, hello, descent flight level 200.
Descent flight level 200,
KLM 24 Echo, report speed restrictions to Dublin 129.175, bye bye.
129.175, KLM 24 Echo, bye bye.
Condor 7.
So I've tuned that in anticipation.
Contact 123.7, Condor 749. Easy 159, route direct 62.
Direct 62, easy 159.
So we may not get our filed step climb. Most of the time the controllers don't really have a full look through the flight plan, and it's filed as 240 step 280, which is hidden later on, which most people seem to miss. So we'll see, we might request it.
1,000 to go.
And if you're having a look, I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to get to 2.8 about there and descend. Probably don't really need to do it, do we? A few fuel is not a concern either. Icing is what I worry about. It's a lot less aggressive than it used to be. There we are, 2.4. Could have gone VS, never mind. So what I'm going to do is get the VOR tuned for Dublin, which is 114.9.
LS. Golf, contact Liverpool radar 119.850, bye-bye.
119.850, thanks for help for November 246 Golf.
See ya. What? 9 Mike Yankee, report you're heading to Liverpool 119.850, bye-bye.
Report heading to 119.850, good evening, Ryanair 9 Mike Yankee.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, resume main navigation direct at Atlanta.
Good evening, Liverpool radar, Ryanair 9 Mike Yankee on heading.
Direct to Lanver, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, thanks. Back into LNAV. Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, request further climb flight level 280.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, climb flight level 280.
Climb flight level 280, thanks Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray.
Ryanair 9 Mike Yankee, Liverpool radar is not responding.
So, let's
Did you definitely get 119.850?
do a step climb once, twice. You can see here, cruise out, go. It updates with just hitting the one button, which is perfect. So,
Ryanair 9 Mike Yankee, you can hear the other aircraft, so I think you might just need to wait a moment, try tuning 119.850 and see whether he responds. He is definitely there.
Okay, 119.850, Ryanair 9 Mike Yankee.
Delta Uniform Lima 19086, climb flight level 220.
Flight level 220, Delta Uniform Lima 186.
Easy 159, en route direct to BAGSO.
Direct BAGSO, easy 159.
And easy 159, contact Dublin 129.175,
there
bye-bye.
we go, so thinking ahead, got that tuned.
Dublin 129.175, thank you for the service, easy 159.
And these are the thing, Christian.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, report your indicated airspeed.
Indicated 289 knots, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, maintain speed 290 knots or greater.
290 knots or greater, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray. A couple of ways of doing that.
Uniform Lima
You can either do
250 knots.
manually, 290, or greater, or you can update it in here for a cruise. So you can see there 290 MCP, take it back, it goes back to 289. What we can do, we've been given 290, let's try 295 /. Interesting, that should work. Silly me, that's climb. So in cruise it works. Max rate doesn't work.
1,000 to go.
Econ works. Okay, so the climb speeds are not modelled because we are in cruise climb. It's within 1 knot. I don't think he's going to notice. And then we'll see what we can do once we level off. You should be able to change that, so I'm sure that's something Zibo is going to work on. There you go, 2.8 is there. There's our econ cruise, so let's try 295 now. There we go, that works. And that's another way of doing it permanently rather than speed into vent. As for the descent, our target speed is 255. Could potentially change that. But so there you go. I mean, there's two different methods of updating your speed. If it was possibly temporary, then you could change it that way. If you want to maintain FMC speed and VNAV, you could do it that way. This guy out here somewhere, not seen.
Easy 75 Yankee with you, flight level 190.
Easy 75 Yankee, Scottish Shallow, climb flight level 240.
Climb level 240, how are you? How are you?
Hello, I'm doing very well, thank you.
I'm very fine, thank you.
So one thing I was going to say was, you know, in preparation for your real world flying, you know, listen ahead to frequencies that people are being given.
Correction, fly heading 270 degrees.
If you know where they're going,
Heading 270 degrees, region 1.
you can tune the frequencies ahead.
When ready, descend flight level 240.
When ready, descend flight level 240, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray. It will be about 15 miles.
Roger.
There you go, and that just lets him know. So 240 we have set. The aeroplane is starting to slow. Hopefully that's not going to upset him because we were asked to maintain 290. We can't really do that in the descent. So I've given him that it's about 15 miles just for his own planning.
Flight level 290, speed 280 knots. New Zealand 4 month Mike Scottish Shallow, fly heading 270 degrees. Heading 270 degrees.
So I'll tell you what we will do. If we modify that to a 290 knot descent,
Delta Uniform Lima 19086, when ready, descend flight level 200.
that's going to get the speed back up. And you can see that it's actually moved the top of descent a little bit further out. And of course there'll be a fuel penalty for that.
1986, when ready, descend flight level 200.
Delta Uniform Lima 196, descend flight level 200.
Scottish Control, Juliet
See
Charlie.
just how slow the airplane is to accelerate again.
Altitude flight level 230. Juliet Charlie 29, Scottish Shallow, descent flight level 150, Ross 2 Alpha arrival. Descent flight level 150, Ross 2 Alpha arrival, thank you. Regular 1, descent flight level 240. Descent flight level 240, regular 1. DD75 Yankee, contact Scottish 126.3, bye-bye.
126.3, bye-bye.
So final approach is 278. Let's see. Okay, that's it. Frequency is 11135 left, 1135 standby. Dublin VOR set. The thing we do need to do is pop in the runway. Need to get the weather as well. Definitely going to be 10, and then it'll be 4 or 5. And we are also going to use the Dublin VOR.
1986, speed 280 knots.
875 Yankee with you, file 340.
280 knots, Delta Uniform Lima 186. 875 Yankee, I'm not sure whether there's voice issues tonight, just check you're on 126.3. And New Zealand 4 bump Mike, descent flight level 240.
Delta 240, I descend Papa Mike.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, direct BAGSO.
Direct BAGSO, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, and we're just leaving flight level 280.
Roger, break, regular 1, turn right, resume navigation, direct LELDO.
Turn right on navigation, LELDO, regular 1.
Good evening, Beaver 76 Tango with you at 290 and 280 knots. Steven 76 Tango, Scottish Shallow, descend flight level 240. Down at 240, Beaver 76 Tango. Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, descend flight level 200.
So flight level 200, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray.
New Zealand 4 Papa Mike, resume navigation, direct PENIL.
On navigation, direct PENIL, Papa Mike.
Lufthansa 983, contact London 133.7, bye-bye.
London 133.7, Lufthansa 983.
You see that has shortened our route somewhat, so we're now too high.
Flight level 70, Juliet Charlie 29.
So I've popped the MSAs in. Let's have a look at the Dublin weather. Christian, thanks very much. You're welcome. Hope to see you again soon. So it's information Tango at 2030, 28 left. Departure runway 34, interesting. transition level 60. I'm going to get the punters sat down, we'll do the performance in a moment. 300 at 11. 10k.
Speed of 76 Tango, redirect Landler. Redirect land, sorry, can you stop, land, got it, Landler, speed of 76 Tango. That's the one, break Juliet, Charlie 29, contact Manchester radar 118.575, bye-bye. 118.575, Juliet, Charlie 29, goodbye. Ryan, 7 Delta X-ray, report speed restriction to Dublin 129.175, bye-bye.
Speed to Dublin 129.175, thanks for the service, happy new year, Ryan 7 Delta X-ray, bye-bye.
And to you, bye-bye. Radio 1, or 2, 1, 2, great day.
So QNH is 1019.
Fairground 654, contact Scottish Isle of Man 128.055, good day.
128.055, bye-bye.
Dublin, good evening, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray. Speed 290 or greater, direct BAGSO, passing flight level 211, descending to flight level 200.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, Dublin, hello, it's the BAGSO 2 Lima for 28 left, descend flight level 150.
BAGSO 2 Lima, runway 28 left, descend flight level 150, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray. So I'm going to use a little bit of speed brake just to get that speed under control, passing 200. Blast of wing anti-ice. No, we don't need to because I can cheat. We'll bring that up again later. So no significant change. Information Tango, QNH 1019. Let's see what the predicted fuel is.
Dublin Control, good evening. Regio 1 descending flight level 100, inbound landbar and speed 280 indicated.
Sorry, station caller, just the call sign again.
Regio 1.
Regio 1, Dublin, hello, it's the BAGSO 2 Lima for 28 left.
I think it's going to be less than
I'll have
that.
for descent in about 5 miles.
I'm going to take 0.6 off.
Regio 1, please.
BAGSO 2 Lima for runway 28 left.
BAGSO 2 Lima, correction, BAGSO 2 Lima for 28 left, Regio 1.
Oh, that was my bad, I left the speed brake out.
Contact Scottish Isle of Man 128.055, good day.
Dublin, hello, in the Hill Pop Mike, descending flight level 200 with information Piano.
First Speedbird 4 Yankee Golf, contact Scottish 128.1055, good evening.
128.055, Speedbird 4 Yankee Golf, good evening.
2 Zealand 4 Papa Mike, Dublin, hello, it's the BAGSO 2 Lima for 28 left, and I'll have to send for you in about 11 miles due to basic controlled airspace.
Oh,
I'm going to pop that on.
And a twit left. Use your Papa Mike.
10 knot headwind, 4 knot crosswind. Go, so we might have to go water brake 3.
1,000 to go.
49154.
Dublin 10, good evening, speedbird 705, flight level 120.
0705 Dublin, hello, redirect to rule out, climb flight level 230.
Direct wheel up, climb flight level 230, speedbird 705.
Dublin Central, good evening, Delta Uniform Lima 1986.
Delta Uniform Lima 1986, Dublin, hello, descend now, flight level 150, it's the BAGSO 2 Lima.
Got a bit of traffic visible out here.
Minus 7 Delta X-ray, descend flight level 130.
Descend flight level 130, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray. Okay, so we can use out intervent, get us back on VNAV path. That will prioritise path over speed, so expect.
Minus 7 Delta X-ray, report to speed to Dublin 132.575, good evening.
Speed to Dublin 132575, thanks for the service, happy new year, see you again soon, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, bye bye.
See ya.
That frequency I was not ready for.
1,000 to go.
Double good evening, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray speed 290 knots or greater.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray Dublin, hello, descent flight level 80.
Descent flight level 80, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray.
1,000 to go.
So that will still respect the restriction at flight level 100. Let's see how we get on. We have to use speed brake, otherwise the speed will get away from us. Only because we are high on profile, but catching airplanes are being a little bit aggressive. Personally, see how quickly that profile is coming back in. Approaching 100. What's the aeroplane doing?
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, reduce speed 230 knots.
230 knots, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray. So we are going to go level change.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, proceed direct to Kogax.
Direct to Kogax, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray. Bit of a shortcut. There's really not a lot we can do now, so getting the speed down, getting the aeroplane down is a bit of a struggle. Obviously they were just getting some spacing for these guys and us. What did we think with the weather scattered 050? I think it is going to be VC, so let's pop our 4-mile fix in. Level change, brake come in, we're pretty much on profile, on speed, passing 100, the cabin's depressurising nicely, pumps on, forward facing lights on, phones on the side of the auto brake set, we have briefed for the approach.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, contact approach frequency 121.1.
Approach 121.1, thanks for the service, have a great night. Happy New Year, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray. Double approach, good evening, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, passing flight level 90, descending flight level 80, direct Kogax.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray,
1,000 to
hello,
go.
continue on the arrival.
Continue on the arrival, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray.
Indian Express 4212, turn right, direct lap move.
Should have given him the ATIS as well, but whatever. Here we go in aeroplane. Be ready to switch to heading mode. Interesting little shuffle to get us back there.
Express 4212, descend to altitude 5,000 feet, QNH 1019. 5,000, 1019, 4212.
So MCP speed out to choir.
Indian Express 4212, contact flying on 119 or decimal 9 or 25. 119, 925, 4212.
We've got that tuned and ready. So this is the MSA circle. The sector that we're going to be in is 2,400. Looks like everyone's going around the arrival, to be honest. These guys are looking a little bit close. 5 mile spacing. Is that departure? Oh no, that. So I think if you're coming in the other arrival, you're 1,000 foot lower, so you can have people crossing over.
Turn right, direct position left mode. direct lap more.
So 81473.
Ryder 7 at X-ray, speed 210 knots.
Speed 210 knots, Ryder 7 Delta X-ray.
Marine Ryder 78 descending flight level.
It's just below flap up, so
So they can see on the arrival at 230 knots.
gonna go 213. You're a bit heavy.
59er descend to altitude 5,000 feet, QNH 1019er. Descend to 5,000 feet, QNH 1019er.
Gonna give TI a wee blast. So the ILS is already tuned, well it was. Get the X-plane map up.
59er, contact finals 119er, decimal 9er25, good day.
Is on.
119er, decimal 9er25, bye-bye.
So I am going to get that mode ready and keyed for the direct. Now 815, we've got a target passing just to our left, can't see him yet. Which is 195. It's effectively replicating a DME arc this point merge. If anybody is watching, please say hi, there seems to be a few people there. Appreciate now's not the best time for questions.
Shamrock 24 kilo, turn left right lap move. Left right lap move, Shamrock 24 kilo.
May very well be the guy behind us. The other arrivals, they're down flight level 70. So you go around the circle in opposite directions to sequence people in. And we'll probably follow the arrival all the way at this rate. It's not the end of the world. As you can see, the controllers can use speed, distance to bring us all in. Failing that, we just have to fly the whole thing.
4 kilo descent, 5,000 feet, QNH 1019.
1019 is set.
1019, Shamrock 4 kilo. Shamrock 24 kilo, contact finals 119, decimal 925, good day. Finals 11995, Shamrock 24 kilo, see you later.
Thanks for the thumbs up, guys. If you are new, please give it a sub. I'm going to try and get some more streams on. Get back to flying a bit more regular. We've effectively got nothing better to do.
Roger 7 X-ray, if you could just reduce your minimum clean speed, 11 turn few very shortly.
We're already at minimum clean, and we can take vectors if run SM Delta X-ray.
Copy, thanks. Roger 7 reduce speed 210. 210, 7 Approach very good evening, Alpaca 37 Mike November, descending flight level 70.
Oh, the Alpaca crew.
Mike November, hello, continue on the arrival, speed 230 knots. 230, Alpaca 37 Mike November. Roger 7 Delta X-ray, turn right now, direct lap mode.
Direct lap mode, run SM Delta X-ray.
Dublin approach, good evening, Regio 1 descending flight level 80 inbound, cool down.
Plane's already doing it.
Regio 1, hello, identified, continue on the arrival and descend to flight level 80. Continue to descend flight level 80 and continue arrival, Regio 1. Roger 7 Delta X-ray, descend to altitude 5,000 feet, QNH 1019.
Altitude 5,000 feet, QNH 1019, Ryan SM Delta X-ray. Delete those out because we're well within.
7 Delta X-ray, contact finals 119er, decimal 9er25, good day.
Finals 119 at 9025, thanks for the service, great event, happy New Year. Look forward to seeing you again soon, bye bye.
Same to you, see you. Easy 159er, speed 190 knots. Speed 190, easy 159er.
Finals, good evening, Ryan 7 Delta X-ray, descending altitude 5000, QNH 1019, information Tango.
Roger 7 Delta X-ray, Dublin finals, hello, descend altitude 4000 feet.
Descend altitude 4000 feet, Ryan 7 Delta X-ray.
Shamrock 24 kilo, enable speed 200 knots. Enable 200 knots, Shamrock 24 kilo. Easy 159er, maintain speed 180 knots until 16. Maintaining speed 180 to 60 ME. Reporting fully established. Given time.
Sherman 24 kilo.
Here are we bang on the glide.
Let's call established. Sherman 24 kilo.
Easy 15906, contact tower 118.6, bye-bye.
Tower 118.6, thank you, bye-bye.
So you can get that tuned and ready, which I'm doing on hardware. It's a hell of a lot easier. The Saitek radio panel is not the best piece of equipment, and maybe one day I'll make my own, because that seems quite cool. But I mean, it works and it makes it a hell of a lot easier flying online. We are a little bit high.
190 knots.
190, Sherman 24 kilo.
Intercept Delta X-ray cleared ILS approach 92, 8 left, report established.
Cleared ILS 28 left, Wilco Rhino 7 Delta X-ray. So, LNAV, MCP speed, we've been cleared for the approach. What I will do actually is go Vorlock, because I don't want it quite capturing just yet. Select edits. You change your name.
Sherman 24 kilo,
If not,
speed 180
welcome.
knots until 60 ME.
180 to 6, and we're just fully established now. Sherman 24 kilo.
Sherman 24 kilo, thanks, contact tower 118.6, bye.
186, Sherman 24 kilo, bye-bye.
Fair few aeroplanes around here.
Harry Zerly, Australia 78 with you, descending, correction, descending 5,000 feet.
Runner 78, final, fill up, continue.
Continue.
And runner 7 Delta X-ray speed 190 knots, and you can descend to altitude 3,000 feet.
Speed 180, descend altitude 3000, runner 7 Delta X-ray. So flap limitation, yes, within. And that's probably going to be flap 5 to be fair, so
Runner 78, descend to altitude 4,000 feet.
Descend 4,000, runner 78.
it's a little bit high for 5. 2 probably wouldn't quite do it. And we speed brake just to keep us coming down. It's the one disadvantage of level change. Down to 3. Cleared for the approach. Localizer's not alive yet. Try and keep the aeroplane on the glide. Go. So everything's alive coming in. Approach arms, glide slope, localizer capture.
Runner 7 Delta X-ray,
Okay.
maintain speed 180 knots until 6.
180 until 6 and we're established, runner 7 Delta X-ray.
Runner 7 Delta X-ray, perfect, contact tower 118.16, cheers.
Tower 186, thanks for the service, great event, happy new year, runner 7 Delta X-ray.
You too.
Tower, good evening, runner 7 Delta X-ray established, 28 left, 10.5 miles, 180 until 6.
Runner 7 Delta X-ray, Dublin Tower, low, continue approach, 23, 00 degrees, 10 knots.
Continue approach, runner 7 Delta X-ray.
Aircraft 067 behind landing each, every 20 land by 2 left behind.
These boys got some nice space in. Until 6, captured.
4212 taxi, Whiskey 2, hold short 1634.
Whiskey 2, hold short 1634, India Express 402.
Interesting, we got a little
Aircraft
bit
06,
driftage. Airplane's correcting nicely.
India Echo Golf Alpha, cross 1634, hold short link 4.
God, is he doing ground as well?
1634, hold short link 4.
It's about reasonable.
Shamrock 572, cross 1634, hold short link 4.
Aircraft green speed 4, hold short link 4, Shamrock 572.
Easy 159 and welcome to Dublin, vacate Sierra 4 right there. Regular Sierra 4 is your
So at 6 miles we're going to reduce to flap 5 speed.
Howard Chocolate 2 on Alpha holding shot 3. Roger. Shamrock 2 for Kilo, 723, 00 degrees, 1 not trying, turn left, clear to land. Clear left, clear land, Shamrock 4 Kilo. Shamrock 1, curse easy, 1 front mark, taxi Sierra, left to Whiskey 1, hold short 1634.
So 4 miles is gear down, flap 15. Speed brakes armed, auto brakes set. Gear landing flap, been checked, start switch is continuous, cabin is secure. Given continue, nothing else.
Echo India, Echo Golf Alpha, contact ground frequency is 125, that's 19. Ground 1259, all the best now, Echo Golf Alpha.
4 miles gear down. Flap 50.
Sharmark 572,
Match speed.
contact ground 121 death.
Already done the landing checklist, holding the landing flap.
Dublin Tower, Chucker 1 with you holding short runway 34. Chucker 02 line, correction, confirmed out, Chucker 1. I'm sorry, second for Chucker 1, please. Okay, Chucker. Dublin Tower, good afternoon to you, runners 789 miles.
So we've configured it a little bit early.
Runner 79, Dublin Tower, Canadian approach, surface 23, 00 degrees, home and not. Continue approach to the left, runner 78. Sharmark 2, 4 kilo, welcome to Dublin, vacate Terra 5.
Approaching 2A.
Clear, flight break 0, Sharmark 2, 4 kilo. Confirm mobile short of Whiskey 1 for Whiskey 15 minutes. Sorry, station, calling second.
Runner 1, X-ray, we're holding to Alpha, ready to go, yeah, I'm ready to go by Alpha.
Clear land, runner, set Delta X-ray.
And your station calling.
Runner 1, X-ray, we're ready to go, runway 34 by Alpha.
Roger, break easy, 159er, taxi whiskey 1, ultra 1634.
Continue. A little bit high on the rate of descent.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
A little bit of a thump.
Air France 067 up to the top. From 067,
80 knots.
So we're slowing quite nicely. Got the countdown markers here. Manual braking. Stow the reversers. 45 knots, we can maintain that roll off.
3,000 feet remaining.
Trucker 02, surface 23, 00 degrees, home and not, runway 34, clear takeoff, bye. Clear takeoff, runway 34, Trucker 2, thanks, good night. Runway 7 Delta X-ray, welcome to Dublin, TAC, PK right Sierra 5, right Sierra.
Right, Sierra 5, right Sierra, Rhino 7 Delta X-ray, thanks.
Runway 7, expect late landing clearance. Late landing, runway 7, 8. Air France 067, surface 23, 00 degrees, 1 1 knots, 2 left, clear to immediate takeoff, bye.
Oh, we had 2 of them taking off. Interesting. That's really busy. So we've got 1 landing behind us, hence the late landing clearance. And he was taking 1 off on 3-4 and 1 off on ours as well. That's pretty cool.
Sharmark 2 4 kilo, taxi Sierra left, whiskey 2, hold short 1634. Whiskey 2, hold short 1634, Sharmark 2 4 kilo. Runway 79, surface 23, 00 degrees, 1 1 knots, 2 left, clear to land. Clear land, 2 left, runway 78. Dublin Tower, good evening, Ringo 1, ILS approach, runway 28 left. Ready, go, 1 Dublin Tower, low, continue approach, surface 23, 00 degrees, 1 1 knots.
Pro trading, yeah, a little bit of high rate of descent. Landing rate, yeah, I'll take that as well.
Yankee behind, landing Ryanair 737, landing point, 2 left behind. Behind landing Ryanair, line of white, 2 left behind, show up to
We get landing rate.
Indian Express 421.
201, yeah, that'll do.
4, hold short length 4.
Bit of a crosswind as well, so I'll take that.
Say again, 422. Trucker 01, line of white, runway 34.
So, cleared Sierra, you expect whiskey.
Indian Express 4212, cross 1634, hold short link 4. Crossing, holding short link 4, India Express 4212. Easy 159er, cross 1634, hold short link 4. Cross 1634, hold short link 4, is in
Ooh, that's going to slow things down.
Looks like you did that now.
This guy's really busy. Pretty epic.
Run at 7 hold G while you're clear, vacate right there, 5 right there. Vacate right 05, right here, Ryder 78. Run at 7 Delta X-ray, taxi there, left whiskey 2, left whiskey 3, hold short 1634.
Left whiskey 2, left whiskey 3, hold short 1634, Rhino 7 Delta X-ray.
Sharmark 2 Yankee, surface 23, 0 degrees, 1 off, 2 left, clear takeoff.
It's first left.
2 late, clear for takeoff, Sharmark 2 Yankee, thanks, bye-bye.
So it's an active runway. We can't single engine taxi across that.
Clear takeoff for Trucker 1. Radio 1, expect late landing clear. Vehicle. Runner 7, 8, I think I gave it to you, but yeah, left whiskey 2, left whiskey 3, hold short 1634. Whiskey 2, whiskey 3, hold short 34, runner 7, 8. Easy 159, contact ground 121 decimal 8, bye-bye.
Ground 121 decimal 8, thank you, bye.
And Indian Express 2, correction 4, 212, contact ground north 125 decimal 9, bye-bye. 25, 942, 12, bye. Radio 1, clear to land 28 left. Clear to land 28 left, thank you 1. Ryan 10, correction Ryan 10, X-ray line up 8, runway 34.
Line from runway 34, Rhino 12 X-ray.
Sandwich from 156, Echo Delta.
Bye-bye.
So I am going to start the APU.
Sharmark 24 kilo, cross 1634, hold short link 4.
That's him ahead.
Cross 1634, hold short link 4.
We can fit through this gap. Just. Loads of room.
Papa Mike, LS to it left. New Zealand 4 Papa Mike, Dublin Tower Log, continue approach, surface 23, 0 degrees, 1 knots. Continue approach, Papa Mike. Radio 1, welcome to Dublin, vacate right there, 5 right there. Making right, you 1. Brian Air 108, X-ray, surface 23, 0 degrees, 1 knots from 834, clear takeoff.
Give me takeoff from runway 34, Rhino 12 X-ray. Let's go!
He's keen.
New Zealand 4 Papa Mike, surface twins, 30 degrees, 1 knots, runway 28 left, clear to land.
Screaming, let's go. Must have a stream on.
Ryan, correction, Ryan, 7 Delta X-ray behind. The departing company 737 cross 1634, hold short link 5.
Behind the departing company traffic, cross 1634, link 5, Rhino 7 Delta X-ray. Was that him just passed? Different livery. Roger, crossing Rhino 7 Delta X-ray. So, active runway, lights.
Runway 34.
Runway 34, 156,
Camera.
Sharmark 24 kilo, contact ground 121 decimal 8.
Approaching 3, 4.
Rhino 12 X-ray, we departed and altitude 1,000 feet.
Roger, contact your assigned departure frequency 132575.
So that's why they want to just shift you to departure. Thanks, bye, gone.
Can you repeat your frequency please for Rhino 12 X-ray? Because I didn't hear that.
That's why you need a snappy.
Departure frequency for the one day got from delivery 132.575.
Thanks for service, Rhino 12 X-ray, thanks.
So 5 is here.
Targeting for Papa Mike, cancel landing, clear approach, surface 23, 0 degrees, 1 knots.
Good day, right now 118, holding short, 3 left.
And New Zealand 4 Papa Mike, cancel landing, clearance, continue approach, surface 23, 0 degrees, 1 knots. Continue approach, Papa Mike. Brian Air 118, you ready now?
Affirmative, ready right now, 108.
Brian Air 118, surface 23.
I tell you what, that was probably the wrong one to stop, wasn't it?
Clear immediate takeoff, bye.
Oh, it's dead. Never mind.
Do you have the departure frequency for site?
120.75.
1075 right now, 108.
Gotta be on the ball.
I said 415 and after hold shot 34, fully ready. Roger. Roger, 1 taxi, 0 left whiskey, 1 hold short, 1634. Continue 0, then hold short, runway whiskey 1, whiskey 1. Runway 7 Delta X-ray, on the ground, 125 left, 19er, bye-bye.
1259er, thanks for the service, great job. Runner 7 Delta X-ray.
Thanks, break, Shamrock.
Ground, good evening, Runner 7 Delta X-ray, holding link 5.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, very good evening. Taxi straight ahead. Stand 121 on your left hand side.
Stand 121 on the left. Runner 7 Delta X-ray, thanks.
Easy 159 at this time, thanks for the service.
Easy 159, thanks for flying in. We'll talk to you soon. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So 121 is one of the first on the left. There's 121 left, 121 itself. So it should be the second marking. Got this guy over here. That's my terrible Irish accent. What's that say? 121. That'll do. I have a feeling these guys don't work anymore. Not just because of COVID. Sim used to give you a little wave. Lights off, cars don't stop for us, great crunch. Yeah, there we go. This guy should be waving, but they don't. I don't know why that is. The marshalling was really quite useful. Maybe it needs a tape. Actually really rather useful. So now I have to cheat, which is less fun. Brake set, 2 blues, 1 red, on stand, engine's dead. Just an hour after leaving Birmingham, welcome to Dublin. But the local time is exactly the same as when you left off. So we will wait for 20% N2 on the remaining lit engine before we pop the beacon off. There it is.
On ground, good afternoon, Ryanair 78, holy shit, link 5.
Ryanair 78, very good evening. Taxi straight ahead. Stand 126.
Ryanair 78, we'd like to take one of the 140, 130 stands if that's possible.
Ryanair 78, no problem at all. Taxi left onto Fox Outer, right onto Delta November, and standard switch.
Fox Outer, Delta November, standard choice, Ryanair 78, thank you.
So there we go, use 1.18, 1.16, a little bit of saving I guess from the shutdown there, does make a bit of a difference. And here we are, 45 minutes, 45-minute flight time, 1 hour 4 minutes. That is us. I've just got a couple of things to file. I'm not going to do a replay because we'll miss out on all that excellent traffic. So that flight's been filed, projectFLY is going to be completed. Nice little trip. Nice and busy. Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray shutting down. Thanks for the service, great event. Look forward to seeing you all again soon. Take care, bye bye.
Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, flight line closes 17. Thanks for flying in, stay safe.
Ciao. So, that's them off. X-pilot disconnected. Oh, pop that back. There we are. Quite a nice clear Dublin for a change. So thanks for watching guys, hope you enjoyed it. The short sectors I find quite fun and nice and busy, but it does mean that it's a bit more difficult to you know, sort of like have a chat without delaying things. And obviously everything happens quite quickly. There are probably a few things I could have improved on there, like slowing down for the descent and then speeding back up again. But apart from that, it wasn't a bad little trip. The departure LNAV flew that quite nicely. And everything else seemed to be pretty good apart from variable climb speeds, but like we know, I think that's fair to say that isn't modelled. Obviously we know Dublin's a bit sketchy. I am making a note to have a look at marshallers and pax weights. That just makes things a bit less confusing. But as long as they match up, you can either match Zibo to SimBrief or match SimBrief to Zibo, whatever floats your boat. I'll also have a look at that now. It's in the settings in the AFB. So if you have a look in here, and there is a great guide online. Is it in general config? No, I tell you where it is. It's here with payload. All the pax weights and settings are here. So you see male and female weights differ, as do the pax zones, etc. The galley weights, they can all be changed. So I think SimBrief makes a standard. I don't know, this would be different. Set to 8.5. I'm gonna have a little read up on that. Anyway, all they have to do is match, and then all your weights will match. But like I say, you could have a bit of extra cargo that day, and maybe it was changed last minute. You'd get a new load sheet rather than the OFP. Be able to work it out from that. But of course, we don't fly with one, although I think Virtual Rhino might do it. So, it'd be nice if they updated this scenery with the new taxiways, etc. But there is the mighty Zibo, getting better all the time. No issues, no dramas. At least the pan's nicely lit up on this one so you can see what's going on. And might as well leave it from the outside because that's not a bad little view, is it? Let's switch that. And that's me done. So thanks very much for watching, guys. If you liked it, thanks for the thumbs up so far. But if you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see some more, then please subscribe, hit the bell. And I look forward to seeing you all again. Until next time. Take care, stay safe, and try not to go too stir crazy. But from me for now, bye bye, again soon.